No Talent Beats.
And on that note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I can't stand y'all. If only those of you that are going to be watching the recording, those of y'all are going to see the nonsense that happened before we actually hit this good old record button right here. But this guy is a whole daggone fool. It's a whole daggone fool. I ain't seen that dance in like how many years?
I had to see the dad one.
Yeah. Last time I seen one of that,
Listen,
kids was over here talking about the hoverboards. It's not even really hoverboards.
Hold up, before we get into all that, welcome to.
What? What you? I know you're gonna say something stupid because you got that robe on. Nah, I know you're gonna say something stupid because you got that robe on.
Welcome to the Sophisticated Brothers podcast.
Yo, when I tell you I cannot stand you, son, I cannot stand you.
All right, I'm
The Sophisticated Brothers, you annoying,
this is
son.
the Educated Brothers podcast.
What up, though?
D, what's going on? How you been, man?
Nothing much, man. I've been chilling. You know I've been chilling, son. I always be chilling, son.
All the jokes aside, it's been like 2 weeks.
Nah, it has been.
Since fucking Bow Wow was about to face Soulja Boy.
Son, first of all, did you see the verses?
I didn't catch all of it.
When I tell you nostalgia kicked in, son, you see the memes though, right, son? The Bow Wow memes, son. Watching that shit live, son. Yo, watching that junk live was so funny because you see him, son. Ain't no way he should have been doing that. Grown man doing nothing like that. Nah,
So
son.
I seen that part. He was like, he's like to pop his shoulder out. He's like,
Pop like
playing that
a
invisible piano when he was Stevie Wonder.
Word up, son. Word up.
But other than that, man, how you been? You good?
Yeah, I've been good, man. These past 2 weeks, other than, dealing with that, past 2 weeks been cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to elaborate on too much because sometimes I overstep on things. Mm-hmm. I got things in the works coming up in the fall, possibly later in the summer, things like that. Okay. But I don't want to speak too much on it yet because I got to let it come to fruition first a little bit more. But, past 2 weeks have been pretty progressive. Okay. No complaints from me. How about you, bro?
Yo, I'm I got my robe on.
I see, son. You living lavish right now. Lavish.
They can't see it on live. I got my little bracelet on. So I got promoted at my 9 to 5.
Oh, you got a whole promotion. Promotion.
What type of promotion? I got a new spot, bro.
New spot?
I'm living lavish.
You got a brand new spot?
Moving on,
son. Moving on
to the east side.
To the east side.
I'm living in the woods, bro.
Yeah, this ain't no deluxe apartment in the sky. I tell you that much, son.
I be having bears and shit.
I promise you do, son.
Keep me protected.
Deers be coming through. Like, can I talk to you real quick about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
You heard what this dude said. You see me in the woods with bear. Help the bear.
Help the bear. That's how you feeling, son? Nah, son. I think if you and a bear went 1-on-1, I should worry about that bear just a little bit. Just a little bit, son.
Anyway, dad joke. Other than that, blessing not his favorite.
And always, any day above the ground is a good day. You know that.
Absolutely, amen. Things have been really good. I can't complain about much. Happy to be back here sitting with you in the wider space.
Yes.
I got central area.
Bruh, it feels glorious.
Last episode, I don't know if y'all saw the video. We had all those fans going.
And we ain't talking about people who's going crazy.
Bro, it was hot.
Fans in there.
The fucking microphone was like, we about to cut off, bro. We overheating.
Like, bro, we not doing this. We not doing this.
Nah, we comfortable.
Comfortable?
Comfortable. I got a hot ass robe on in the middle of the summer.
Nah. What is that? Velour? That ain't even velvet, son. That's velour, son. Fool, you can't even spell Fosachi. F-O Sachi.
Nah, yo, but I'm good. Happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Getting this new episode. What number we on? What episode?
I believe we're on Ocho Cinco in now.
Cinco. You mean?
Yo, he tight. He bet on McGregor last night.
Bro, did you see how bad that injury was?
Son, first of all, that's why I don't do MMA. And if I'm going to do it, it's just going to be for cardio.
He didn't even get hit.
I know. That's why you got to see some of the memes, bro.
The dude, what was the guy?
Portier.
he was bragging like he did something. Bro, that shit was just a freak accident.
But that's why Conor was sitting there like, call it a doctor stoppage, because he really wanted it to be known you didn't knock me out or it didn't.
Nothing.
But
no,
it is a freak accident.
Yeah, bro, like,
I mean, it's one of those things that you got to call a L, but it's not really taking an L. You have to give it to him just because the cards say it. But
he was gloating about it. Like,
no, but the thing about it was though, he had no choice because granted, it's still corny, but no. Did you see the way McGregor was talking filthy about him? So for him, he thought like, yeah, I'm about to just do whatever.
At the end, he said to that man with one leg, "That's real talk. You ever seen somebody just not respect you?" That man was on one leg, sitting on the ground, and literally said, "Your wife is in my DMs. She's coming with me to the after party." Man's about to get surgery talking about an after party. That man really don't like you. That's some disrespectful shit. Me personally, that's why I can't do the whole fight thing, because I know you got to promote fights, but once you talking shit after the fight, that means you really don't like each other.
Yeah, honestly,
fuck the bodyguard, fuck the security guard, me and him fighting one leg or not, I'm gonna kick him.
Kick him in his face.
Yo, nah, bro. Like,
but then you end up fucking around and get disqualified, son. You're right. This shit was over. You true.
They gonna take my belt from me? Fuck, I'm whooping. And that shit wasn't a championship fight. We fighting.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was just supposed to be like the triple header of their fight or whatever the case is.
Fuck that shit, bro.
So first of all, talking greasy, I ain't got a wife right now, but if I got one and you talking crazy like that, yo, son, I don't care. It's gonna be part 4 right here, and y'all gonna have to stop it, son. But Gregor do be wilding though, son, with his trash talk, son.
All I'm saying is he's gonna have to retire though. Not injury aside. If this would be his 3rd consecutive loss.
Yeah.
If you want to count the Mayweather fight 4, so it's done. It's over him. And listen, he's in a position that a lot of MMA fighters aren't in. They don't make that much money to begin with. If I'm not mistaken, Conor McGregor is worth like $300 million right now. His alcohol business is doing really good.
Yeah, those endorsements will help out.
No, he owns that business.
That's right. He has his own. You true.
And it's an Irish whiskey, and he's like really big in Ireland.
Go figure.
And he's doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you don't have to, I know people are like, oh, it's for the love of the sport. If you're gonna keep going out like that, fuck that. Sometimes you gotta know when to go out on top, and like a lot of athletes don't go out on top. Like, when was the last time you saw somebody retire out on top?
Retire on top?
Like
when everything was going good and they left?
I would say like Tim Duncan. He retired on top.
Yeah, because after he got his last ring, he was like, I'm done. No. He played for a little bit longer after that. You true.
But they were still a playoff team going deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when they lost in that, they lost in the semifinals. That one year, he was like, yo, it's over. And he went out on top. He didn't go out like a Barkley. Charles Barkley went out bad.
Yeah, he did go out pretty bad.
But he was chasing rings, so you understand.
But then again, that's the narrative that was talked about and things like that. But I do want to talk to you about something that's been a little bit in the waves, the airwaves. You've probably seen stories regarding young Sha'Carri. Young Sha'Carri Richardson, right? Yeah. I want to touch base on that just a little bit. I want to know how you feel about it, because I know how I feel, obviously, but I want to know how you feel about it.
I'm gonna be all the way real. When the news first broke, in my mind, I'm like, yo, and this is just me being an athlete. I guess you want to call it like a little like envious. I don't call it jealousy. When I see athletes who get in position to make it in their sport, when you know there's certain rules in your sport, abide by it. So when I first read that story, I'm like, she tripping. She knew better. Don't smoke. Even with it not really being an advantage, if anything, that's a disadvantage. You're smoking and you're a fucking track star. But once I started to learn more about it, and then, the reason why she did it, and then understanding, like, because when they first released it, I thought it was just going to be like a slap in the wrist. They was just going like, yo, you can't do that. Give her a few days or weeks. Yeah. And then it would be back to normal. An overall ban because of it? Excuse me, not a ban.
There was a suspension.
If you want to be technical, in that suspension, it's basically a ban because you already know in the 30 days you're suspending her. That's the entirety of the Olympics.
The crazy part is she could have made it,
and
they can't use her trial times. Yeah. The reason why she can't make it is because they're negating her trial times,
but she still could have been
prior to. So if Team USA said, yo, you know what, real talk, we want to put you on the team, she could still be on the team.
But she still could have been on the relay team because it don't matter with the trial times, and they told her no.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like it gets to a point where I was doing some reading about it, and there's other countries who do it based on, your actual talent. Like if you're the fastest in this group and they've seen it, they're like, yo, you're coming with us. But the way we have it, we have all these rules that are mad airtight, and apparently if you can't even step even by the line, because if you do, then something like this happens.
Like, the rules are dumb.
The rules are outdated and dumb.
If it was for any other drug, cocaine, crack,
heroin, any of the crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? The crazy stuff.
If it was any type of other psychedelic, then I would understand. Weed is natural, bro. As long as it's not being tampered with, the shit is literally from the ground. That's some shit people don't, like, I'm getting off topic a little bit. People don't understand that weed was only made illegal because back then they couldn't tax it properly. They knew that if they made it legal, then it would just be grown everywhere because it's a fucking plant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, I'm not gonna get into the whole story because I don't want to miss any points. But obviously, people have the option to go research this. They only literally deemed weed legal because they couldn't control it at first. Once it was deemed illegal, they were able to control it because now if you got caught with it, you was going to jail, and that makes people not want to touch the shit.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, once they got all the farmers in line, whatever, that's when they started with the medicinal marijuana. But now, with everything going on in the world, just being more open to certain things, it's like, how long are you going to hold that down? Like, the LAPD just did a fucking drug raid that had over like 200,000 pounds of marijuana,
mm-hmm.
and they was promoting this shit in a fucking state where weed is legal.
Because the idea of it is it's been so criminalized.
Now, and that's what kills me, because it's like, yo, y'all get mad at us when we say defund the police, but y'all spending taxpayers' money on shit that I can walk around and smoke and not get in trouble for. What are you doing? People getting killed, shot, there's fucking wildfires going on. You worried about marijuana drug busts? Are you fucking kidding me? Listen, but back to Sha'Carri. Do I think they should have suspended her for as long as they did, to the point where this girl's missing her Olympics? No, that's fucked up. The only positive that comes from this is, she's noticed now. So whatever she attaches her name to financially is going to help her out more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really agree with it, but sometimes it works. The Kardashians are famous for this. Any press is good press, even if it's bad. So even with this being a negative, it turned to a positive. For last night, for example, she was at the ESPYs, and Captain America.
I was going to say Captain America.
Captain America shot the Falcon. Captain America shouted her out, and then she met up with the baby afterwards. She's notarized now, so now she can turn that into a positive. And people seem to forget as well, even though 3 years is still a long time. The next Olympics is not 4 years; it's 3 years, because technically this is the 2020 Olympics going on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if y'all don't know, the Olympics is every 4 year event. It got canceled last year because of COVID. They're having it this year. Sadly, Japan just had a spike in COVID cases,
mm-hmm.
so they're not having fans at these events this year. But it's not going to be a 4 year wait; it's going to be a 3 year wait. And then they have their world events every 2 years. So she's fine. She's young as hell.
Mm-hmm.
She got at least another 2 Olympics in her. She's going to come out on top of this. Because by the time she goes into her actual Olympics, and what year would that be? 2024?
Mm-hmm.
All that shit's going to be legal. So then she's going to be able to smoke all the weed.
See, the thing about it is, though, I mean, most people will say that, but because the Olympics is a world sport, mm-hmm. there's still countries that deem it as illegal.
Real talk, it's not that many. America's one of the... I can't talk. America's one of the last countries to legalize it.
That's not true.
It is. A lot of
there's some why countries. Do you think the baby, or excuse me, little baby's in jail right now?
In France.
France is not legal.
He brought it from out of the country.
But it's still not legal.
No, he got out.
Is it legal over there?
He got out immediately. They had nothing to charge him with.
But is it illegal over there is my question.
I don't want to speak.
Because my thought was, I thought it was still illegal over there.
I don't want to speak on things that I'm not 100% sure on.
Mm-hmm.
But just knowing the law anywhere, if it was illegal, they wouldn't have slapped him what they slapped him with. The charge they tried to pin on him, which got dismissed
mm-hmm. already,
because he got out of jail within like 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
They thought that he brought the weed he had from overseas. You can't bring it into the country as a normal civilian.
Oh, okay. I thought it was because he had it and because he got it from out there.
Like, if you look at most of the European countries, you can do that shit. It's other hard shit that they're like, yo, you're not fucking with that. And plus, you can't import it because they can't tax it. You can't. That's anywhere in the world. Like, they're not going. If they can't get money off it, they're not going to let you just bring it. So, maybe I shouldn't say that it is, but the way everything is going, more than likely, in the next 3.5 years, most of the civilized world is going to be okay with that shit. And it also depends on where the next Olympics is taking place at. Isn't it 2024 is in America?
Oh, I don't know.
It is.
I believe you. I mean, I don't personally know. I don't know.
Now that I think about it, 2024 Olympics. No, I'm wrong. Excuse me. I think that might be the World Cup. I'm sorry. I'm getting.
I was about to say because I don't know.
But anyway, I think she's gonna be fine. Even if it's not legal, obviously she's not gonna be out here still doing what she was doing because it messed her up in the sense that she can't do what she loves at the highest stage for her sport. So, in that regard, I feel bad for her, but I also feel good for her. A, this would be a learning lesson for her. B, she's gonna come out on top of this. She already is, and she's winning from it.
Now, me personally, I don't like what they're doing because I know you say there's goods and bads. Personally, me, it's that shit is not okay. I mean, granted, I get it. There's rules. There's things that we have to abide by. You know, you sign contracts. You do certain things. But I personally have never had somebody that close to me pass away. So I can't say what I would even do in that kind of regard.
I said the
reasoning for why she did it,
and they should have just let it go,
is one of the reasons. The reason why I'm so adamant about I don't agree with it at all is because it's not like she was sitting in her room snorting, using an actual PED, steroids of any kind. She literally, and we don't even necessarily know if it was like the night before testing. We don't know exactly when it happened. Weed stays in your system for a very long time. For all we know, she could have been smoking 2-3 weeks ago. We don't necessarily know. It just showed up, air quote, in her system. My whole thing with it is why I don't like it is because, she tells y'all my mom died. My mom died. I wasn't just doing this shit with my friends on the corner. I was with myself and I wasn't feeling okay. And I thought I could use this. Not saying that anybody should use it necessarily to get over stuff. But if she felt that was going to help her, she wasn't harming nobody. She didn't hurt the game. She didn't hurt the sport. And the fact that they're calling it a banned substance in the sense of what the banned substances are, I actually did the research on this. They are only talking about things like opioids, steroids of any kinds, growth hormones, things along those lines. They consider street drugs as a banned substance. But the quote of street drugs is a very broad statement. You can't just say, and when they're talking about street drugs, there's so many different types of things.
Is this the Olympic Committee or this
is the Olympic Committee, the OAFTA and all of that
stuff?
If I'm
not mistaken, she got suspended by the U.S. Track and Field.
She got suspended by, I think, the U.S. Track and Field. No. I'm not that I have to look more on. I don't know if it was exactly the Olympics or the USA Track Team, but I do know for a fact that the suspension is only supposed to last until like July or 20th or something like that. It wasn't going to last the entire month. It was going to just be it was going to be the 30 days, but within that time, she could have still got picked up and gone to the team. My issue is the way that America does the actual like invites, or excuse me, the way that they bring people in. For example, Usain Bolt, we know from Jamaica, they never going to say nothing bad about him. Usain Bolt do whatever. They know he's going to run because they have a way of picking the people who are the best. They don't go necessarily by just the track times. America in particular, with other countries involved, they do track times based on, they do invites based on, if your track time is this, then you're on the team.
We have to though.
But why do we have to? If somebody, let's say somebody shows up to the trial and they have a bad day, fuck up on that particular day. Now they can't join the Olympics. What if they're better than somebody? They just had a bad trial run.
It happens.
I hear you, but that's
in sport. Not to cut you off, but in sport, you can't be mad at stuff like that. That's like saying you make it to the Super Bowl, you have bad games. They're not going to replay the game.
That's very true.
So,
but if you show up and let's say that, so for that particular example, if let's say Tom Brady was playing Aaron Rodgers, they're in the same damn division. Let's just say Aaron Rodgers was playing. What's the AFC quarterback? Fitzgerald when he was with the Dolphins. Let's say Aaron Rodgers playing Fitzgerald and Fitzgerald or Aaron Rodgers has a great game.
We don't speak on Tom Brady.
Aaron Rodgers has a great game the entire season. Super Bowl rolls around. He does terrible in the Super Bowl. Would you then not let him essentially be deemed a great quarterback?
No.
So my whole thing with Sha'Carri, and this might be a terrible example, is she's the fastest runner, and it's been proven.
Mm-hmm.
So because now you can't use her times, shouldn't you just let her try those times again?
But here's the reason.
Because then she'll just prove that she does deserve to be on the team.
But here's the reason why America itself can't do it. We're too big in land size. There's too many states in our union for them to be like, all right, we just want to stick with these one people. Because they want, even though we know sometimes it's political and it's bullshit, they want to portray the image that everyone gets a chance to make these teams.
Mm-hmm.
A country like Jamaica can get away with it. Jamaica's way smaller than America. Like a lot of these smaller countries, they do it because they have to put their best out, because people are like, oh, the Olympics is something great. It's for the world to come together. No, the Olympics has become business. It's sport. If the Olympics was anything but business, they wouldn't show the medal counts.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was just, oh, everyone's having a great time, the countries are coming together, they would not show the medal counts. The fact that NBC spends most of their coverage showing this,
there's ad revenue and all that stuff. Yeah,
you feel me? And then every country can't play in every sport. So if that was the case, it wouldn't be like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like, oh, we can't do this sport unless every country participates in it. But some countries just don't play that fucking sport.
There are big countries that do it the way that I said, in the sense that they just get the best for their particular sport.
Who's bigger than America that does that? Because
nobody. I mean, nobody does that. Well, I mean, I could probably look it up. I shouldn't say nobody.
Because Russia does it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
They have the little trial runs before the Olympics. Whoever wins those become an Olympic team. It's like that in most bigger countries because they're widespread. And especially in a country of our size, there's not too many countries on this planet that's as wide and big as America. So they have to do it that way because it's 50 fucking states. And they have to go and see and give everyone a chance in all these states to see who's going to represent the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like basketball where NBA players are going. Back in the day, it used to be like that with basketball because they weren't allowed to play the NBA players. But once the NBA got involved and they allowed the NBA players to play, it was like, yo. And they only was able to get that off with the NBA because they knew it would help the rest of the world. If the NBA got those players in, then basketball becomes a global sport. Mm-hmm. Now you got Nigeria just beat USA yesterday. Mm-hmm. You think that would have happened ever if the 1992 Dream Team never happened? Because basketball is not in those countries yet.
Okay.
The Dream Team brought basketball into those countries. Now the world is watching the Olympics like, yo, these motherfuckers are good.
But then they get a chance to try out for the basketball team because there's no. I mean, well, now I think there's the NLPA. I think there's a Nigerian basketball league. J. Cole was in it.
No, it's Africa.
Africa's the Africa League. So my whole thing is they probably have their players from their league join and stuff like that. But where I was going originally with about Sha'Carri is the idea that with the analogy that I was going to use.
Not to cut you off, but the NBA funds that league.
The NBA funds what league?
That African basketball league.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's they're partnered with them. Exactly. But I understand that because they have players that come from over there and stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, how come she couldn't just try out again? That's my whole thing. Like, I'm not saying just put her on the team because she's the fastest. If y'all knew that there was time that she could just get in like a run, just so she could show somebody. My whole thing with it is we know that she's the best or one of the best at her sport. We've seen it.
At this point,
wouldn't you want to get your best on the field?
Yeah, but they feel like the people behind her, or just in the process of it all, they can still put out that team that can be beat. That can be, and truth be told, like,
man, listen, I believe that there's a lot of politics behind it because I mean, calling me a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that because the sister ran so well, people are a little scared. It's very easy. I think it's very easy.
I don't even think it's because she ran so well. I think it's an image.
It could. First of all, if that definitely is a hypothesis that you have, I will not debate that. Like, I will not debate that.
I mean, like they did. If people, we're not old enough to remember because we weren't alive. But if you go do your research on history, they tried to do the same shit to Flojo. I
was just thinking of the same person.
She ran the same way. She had the nails, the acrylics. They don't like that.
Mm-hmm. But
what does it matter how I'm looking?
And that's where I think that where I was going with it is I think it's unfair because I think that's what's going on.
You know how it goes with us.
I know exactly how it goes with us, but that's why I'm so mad. That's why it's like let her just try again, let her run, let her try it. But I know, bruh. I know the real reason why, and that's where I was building it up to, because at the end of the day, we know she's the best. I'm not saying that there's nobody who could possibly be better than her, but well, from what we saw out of our own two eyes, you saw that she was the best at what she does.
No one can debate the fact that she didn't. They blew up that thing a million times more than it did because she was black. The one thing, though, I wanted to speak on, we had the platform. I didn't like because I'm on most social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I didn't like when people were trying to say, oh, they didn't ridicule Michael Phelps like this. They did. It just wasn't as big as this, because even with social media existing at the time that Michael Phelps was on his historic run, social media wasn't what social media is now. People forget Michael Phelps was a part of that historic ass 2008 Olympic team that America sent.
Nah, the reason why people wasn't wilding was because he got caught after the games.
One of the incidents did happen during, and they gave
well, at least not that I saw.
I remember. Listen, I remember it like it was yesterday, because he did a whole. Him and Ray Lewis are like best friends. They did a whole piece on ESPN with him. They gave him hell for it, and the fact that USA was still bringing him to the Olympics, they were pissed about that. But like you said, they're not going to tell Michael Phelps he can't swim. So he got just as much flack for it. I feel like MySpace was still the number one fucking social media at the time. If social media is what social media is now, but it was like, if it was like that then, it probably wouldn't been as bad, being that he's white, but it would have been shown more. A lot more people would have known about it. I think it's unfair for people to come at him sideways now, like, oh, you guys didn't do this to Michael Phelps. They kind of did, but when you get the pressure on you now with everything, like, people say, oh, it's cancel culture. The world is smaller now. Like, for example, this is completely off topic. Look how fast we found out that fucking Haiti's president got murdered. And back, if you go back 15, 20 years ago, we're going to have to wait a day or two to hear some shit like that. That shit happened, and it was on the news within
You said 15, 20 years ago? Yeah. Bro, that was like 2000. We could have found out in like a day.
No? All right.
At most. We had the internet in 2000, bro.
I'm exaggerating. A day, yes. We found that shit out within 45 minutes of it happening.
Did we?
Yo, I was driving, because I just took a road trip to Georgia. I was on the road. They said that shit happened at dawn in the dawn hours of the morning. He got murdered at like 5 in the morning. My phone alarm went off with the report at like 6:45.
Oh.
They reported that shit almost immediately. So stuff like that. Social media makes the world smaller. So even with that magnified this incident times a billion. And I feel like with them having all the eyes on them, not only it's like, oh, well, look at her. Who this black woman thinks she is looking like that, and then come and smoke weed. No, she's quote-unquote fitting the stereotype. We can't have that. So they made an example out of her because they knew the world was watching, but not realizing that it basically shows that they don't really care about us. They don't, because, like you said, her mom passed away. A lot of people don't know what that feels like. Sadly, we're going to experience it, but I don't know what that feels like. I know that shit's going to suck. Once I heard that, all the shit that I told you how I felt before, like, oh, she should know better, that shit went out the window. When you lose somebody like that, like, I've watched people who lose their parents just go off the deep end. All she did was smoke weed. Come on now. Let that shit go.
They need to let it go. And I know you said that Michael Phelps didn't really get ridiculed. I mean, excuse me, he did. Bruh, I don't remember that shit. And I know you saying that social media, but I literally saw her story on every news outlet on TV.
Why is that?
On TV.
Why? You realize today...
We have TV back when Michael Phelps got caught, too.
You realize today's news is based off of what they get off of online. It's completely switched. It's not you hear it on TV, then it comes to the internet. But
with Phelps, that was a what's the word I'm looking for? It was a tumbling picture. Like everybody, it was already transitioning through the...
I'll tell you like this. In your life, how many times have you had to sit up and hear these news people get on the news and apologize about reports? Because they're getting their news from the internet now. They're literally getting their news from social media, trying to fact check it, and then reporting it. And then
I didn't know that.
yeah, like yo, because I'm big on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're getting their news from social media. If they're wrong, they'll just run a report an hour later, like, oh, we apologize, we didn't mean to say that, that didn't happen. They're getting the news from these social media websites.
Mm-hmm.
It's different now. Back in the day, when that happened with Michael Phelps, it was the opposite. The news on TV reported it, and then everyone else got it. It's the complete opposite.
And the only reason, again, why I don't think it was a big deal, I don't remember anybody making a big deal about it, was because, one, it wasn't during when he was doing the Olympics. It was the picture was circulating after the Olympics.
No, at the Olympics, he came out with that shit. He even was like,
and then they still brought him back on team.
Yeah.
That's why I'm upset.
Because they couldn't do shit while he not doing it. Like, how you gonna tell me I can't smoke in my free time?
I understand that. But at the same time, he still did it.
Yeah.
So I understand, during the time, maybe you're not supposed to and things like that. But why is it not really a big deal when it's not during the season, but it's a big deal when it is? Like, I hear it, but it's the reason why she got in trouble was because they're considering a performance enhancement drug. That's why she's in trouble, because they considered it a PED. She's not in trouble because it's just weed. They're considering this an enhancement drug. That's why she's in trouble.
He didn't get in trouble for it because, like I'm telling you, and I know a lot of us don't want to hear that, but I'm just being real about the situation because I'm familiar with it. Because you're talking to somebody who literally would wake up, watch SportsCenter for 4 hours before he leave and go to do anything. Mm-hmm. Whether it was go to school at times, we were still in college, go to work. That was what I did, and it directed me into every sport. So I'm telling you, had social media been this big back then, mm-hmm. it would have been the same type of, not rephrase that, I'm not stupid. It wouldn't have been the same because mm-hmm. he's not black. But it would have been big enough for you to have heard about it. Mm-hmm. I promise you, like, that's all it really is. Like, the world is just different now. Think about it. When's the last time you watched a TV show that wasn't on a streaming service?
I don't watch TV.
That's my point.
Unless it's the news. Unless it's the news, that's the only thing I watch on TV. Oh, unless it's the playoffs too.
They know they don't get viewership now. Mm-hmm. Most TV stations now post their news on their websites first.
Yeah.
Well, they do that because what do we have most of the time on us?
Our phone.
Social media, internet. Mm-hmm. It's right in our hands. Mm-hmm. We're going to post it there first.
I feel like the Phelps story was a lot more recent and could have circulated so much more than what you're saying, yo. We might have to talk about this on the next episode and recover it, because honestly, son, I don't remember.
I'm going to tell everybody who's listening to this, I'm going to advise you to do the same. Mm-hmm. Once we're finished with this, Google it.
Yeah.
And it's going to pop up all them stories. Because what happened was, when, like I said, Black Twitter is something serious. Black Twitter is fucking
They can find everything. Black Twitter is just the best.
Black Twitter is dangerous.
Black Twitter is the best.
Listen, so to reconfirm with myself, I'm like, when I first saw somebody tweet that, and everybody was like, yeah, it ain't going after Michael Phelps, I was like, they did. But before
he did lose some of his endorsements.
Before I got up there and argued it, I'm like, let me go.
He did lose some of his endorsements.
And I checked it, and I reconfirmed it. He did get a lot of flack from that shit. He lost. You know what it was? He didn't get a lot of public flack, but he got a lot of business flack. The world wasn't as close as it was.
I mean, in that regard, I guess I can agree with you.
And speaking of which, Nike caught a lot of flack because they used to fuck with Phelps. They caught a lot of flack because they was against that. They came out and supported Sha'Carri.
Yeah. Shout out Nike.
Things are changing in some aspects of human nature for the better.
Man, you know what it is, bro? You know why I'm really upset about it? What? And I've figured it out, son. I'm upset because people don't know how to be people. Mm-hmm. The real reason why I want her to run is because this woman, like we said, we're not going to revisit everything. She lost her mom, and that's why she was doing this stuff like that. From a person standpoint, y'all should let her run again. Bro, could you, again, we going to move on, but could you just imagine? I love my mother very dearly. If I lost her, God forbid, I know it's going to happen, don't want it to be today, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. So for me to sit up here and make it somebody's dream, just, you can't do that no more, over the most tragic thing that most humans can feel in terms of a bond with somebody is now severed forever.
They don't care.
From a person standpoint, that's why I'm pissed off. But everybody always tells me I need to get over those things because sometimes, yes. But again, I understand.
I tweeted it and I meant it from the bottom of my heart. If everyone was as outraged as they said it was, every black American athlete should have pulled out of the Olympics until they let her back. we speak on things, we write things on our social medias. It's easy to use your fingers to type something out.
Absolutely.
But if you're not backing up what you're writing or what you're saying, then you're just talking. Every black athlete should have pulled out. And people kill me with that. Oh, it was a once in a lifetime. If we all banded together and left, you think they about to go out there with the...
Bruh, you ain't even got to say it, bruh. Imagine all the... Introducing the team, the Wonder Bread team.
This is going to sound racist. Imagine if Team USA basketball went out there with every good white player in the NBA.
Son, gold.
That Nigeria was also
gold.
90 to fucking 50.
Yo, son, don't tell them with the American flag on their bumper stickers. They say gold, double gold, platinum. You get platinum in the Olympics with an all white team.
Stop it, bro. My point being is, when we get mad about things, if we're going to be as mad as we say we are, we got to start putting some action behind our words. And we do that shit a lot. And it's so annoying because I hate when celebrities get on TV and be like, oh, I would have did this, I would have did that. But you didn't. And you had the opportunity to do so, and you chose not to do it. So it's best for you to just shut the fuck up.
Damn, I'm just thinking about that shit. Bruh. I agree, because think about it. I'm just thinking about the American basketball team now. You thought Nigeria won last night or a couple nights ago.
Shout out to my boy Jelani. We were just on Twitter talking about
Son.
He was like, yo, you can't be he's like, yo, any team sport is about chemistry, which I know, obviously. If your team doesn't have that chemistry, you're never going to win.
I agree with that.
I get that. And that plays in the part to why they lost. But what I said to him was, people forget international basketball is another different animal. And with the NBA and what the NBA referees are doing to the players now is they're making them softer.
Soft. And then, I'm glad you said that.
On top of making them softer, these motherfuckers don't know the rules. Zach LaVine was on video last week, literally getting taught what a travel was again. Because they let him walk so much in the NBA that he didn't know that once you catch the ball, you play basketball. If you catch the ball and you try to move, what you got to do before you move?
Nigga, you got to dribble. Well, unless you go into the basket and it's a slashing play. But if you know you at the top of the key, you can't just start walking and taking them 3 steps, bro. First of all, we can talk about it all day, son.
They literally had a coach in practice with Team USA because he kept doing it. And he's like, yo, they're going to call it on you. He's like, what am I doing wrong? Ain't you walking?
Son, it's like you're not even taking 2. Those are 3 clear steps that y'all be taking, son.
That's what LeBron used to call that shit. That's a crab dribble.
Yeah, crab dribble. Son, fucking crab dribble. But honestly, right now, they do need somebody like LeBron. Yo, I'm thinking, I look at that team.
Now, people forget.
The team is not terrible, but in comparison to even like the 2016 team.
They're still going to get gold. You know why they're going to get gold? And I know everybody's like, oh, that's not that much. Y'all forget, once the final's over, they get Booker, they get Holiday, and they get Middleton. The 3 of them playing. Now, you're making that face. Booker No. First of all, ain't no Booker slander gonna come out this mouth, brother. Okay. We already talked about it, Suns in 4. We talked about what team we fucking want to win, nigga. We ain't talking about that. What I was gonna say is, I made the face because you said Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. Not because I don't think they're nice. Not because. But the only reason why is because these past 2 games, but they've done this before. So I'm not going to talk bad on them because Drew Holiday has been solid since he's been in the league. And Chris Middleton be making and doing what he need to do. Drew Holiday has 4, no, excuse me, he has 3 All-NBA defensive teams.
Oh, I said I'm not slandering Drew.
I know you're not.
Okay.
But that's what's needed in international play. It's more physical.
Mm-hmm.
They come at you. Especially America being who we are with our NBA players. We get the best punch every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember them years when Argentina won the gold and Spain won the gold? They were able to take some of them games off because they knew they wasn't going to get the punch like the Americans got.
Mm-hmm.
That one year America won bronze, I think that was...
that was 2000.
That was 2004 when Argentina won.
Yeah, that was 2004. Because then we won 08. We won 08 and 16.
That 04 team had AI, Tim Duncan...
young LeBron was on that team. I had the poster. Kevin Garnett was on that team.
Kevin Garnett, LeBron, Melo, Wade was on that team.
Yeah.
They were all young and experienced, and
Michael Jordan was on that team.
The rest of the world was like, "Yo, we coming at y'all."
Yeah.
And they came
punched us in the mouth.
Vin Baker was on that team.
Bruh, son, the fact that you said that name, I had to think about this. Like,
they came at them.
Mm-hmm.
So. And at that point too, like I said, just based off of what the Dream Team did for the world, a lot of those younger kids were now adults. So now they're playing for their countries. And they remember what the Dream Team did to their countries. As much as they idolized them for being great.
You beat our country.
The closest game they had in the 92 Olympics was they won by like 38 points.
Bruh.
They was a 9.
Yo, honestly, that's why they call them the Dream Team. It's like, bruh,
They were
I wasn't following. Obviously, I was too young to really keep up with the Dream Team, but bruh.
Listen,
When I did my research on them game, yo, son, I think, like you said, the closest game was like a 30-point deficit, and on average, they was beating teams by like 35, 40 points.
dude, when you get to the point where you have our MVP of our NBA is fucking European. Shit. That should show you the rest of the world is catching up, man. And wait till we get to a point where
And he a big man, too.
wait to that point where them small countries start throwing out 4 or 5 players. Now they got rosters that can match up with our roster. Then what?
They better go drink Michael's secret stuff. Oh, no, it's LeBron's secret stuff now.
I understand it's about business. You got to protect your assets and make sure that all the higher assets are protected. Fuck that. Because as long as we protecting them and babying them, the rest of the world's going to catch up. So on the world stage, where I don't care what they say, and I agree with Melo at that point. Melo was like, I ain't got no rings, but I got gold medals. And that to me, that's more important. He's right. If I go on the world stage and the world sees it,
the world, Craig.
yeah, like, I'm going to hold that a little bit higher than, I got an NBA championship. Like, for example, I'm going to take it there. I had an argument with one of, I don't even know if you remember him, one of the dudes, Joey from Hillside.
Oh, yeah.
About a month,
No.
you remember. About a month ago, he had an argument with me that Robert Horry should be a Hall of Famer.
Because he's got 5 rings?
He has 7.
He got 7, right? He had with the Lakers and the Spurs.
You know Robert Horry averaged...
I was about to say, didn't he average like 10 points?
7.
Yeah. He was, I mean, he would put up games where he had like 15, 20 points.
His highest point total as a starter, he averaged 12 points one season. And that was the first year Houston won the ring. Those are not Hall of Fame numbers. 7 rings are not. Brian Scalabrine.
I was literally thinking of the same person.
I hate when people like, it's rings. No, rings are not everything. Rings are everything for Michael Jordan and Kobe because they win so much.
Because they deserve those. They earn those damn rings.
They're competing with. People seem to forget that they're not competing with everybody else. When they have those ring talks, they're competing with themselves. Kobe, LeBron, Mike. It's just them 3 at the time. Bill Russell, excuse me. They're competing with each other. They're not competing with the Charles Barkleys, the Karl Malones. Karl Malone and Charles Barkley compete with each other because they've been there, but they never won it. And then that they know that one thing was the one thing they missed throughout their career. You can't sit up here and try to sell me that Robert Horry is a fucking Hall of Famer. That's it. We're talking. That's an insane. I don't care what nobody says. That's an insane conversation, and that's a slap in the face to the actual greats of the game. Granted, every NBA player is great to me because it's hard as fuck to make it there. But at the same time,
except for never mind.
The Hall of Fame is supposed to be the best of the best. Robert Horry is not the best of the best.
Not even at his position.
Yes, he contributed to his rings, and but that's what a team sport is. Everyone's fucking contributing.
If that's the case, fucking John Paxson could be like, yo, I'm a Hall of Famer too.
Steve Kerr has 5 rings. Is he a fucking Hall of Famer? Like, people kill me with that shit.
John Paxson put up 10 points a game if he lucky. If Jordan passed him the ball when he need him to.
He has 2. So my thing, he has 3.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, all right, boom. If you want to go Robert Horry, I can start naming a lot of scrub players who got multiple rings that should be in the Hall of Fame. Then, once you open Pandora's box like that, you're letting everybody in, man. But like I said, we can go all day.
Son, bro. We might be able to have to talk about that on the next episode.
We're gonna get into it because we got some things to research. But with that, it was fun today. Shout out to D. For stopping by my new spot. Yeah, so it's dope here. My room is gonna be in the back over there. Don't be surprised when you see like a mattress just poof. Signing off. This is Sophisticated Brothers.
Oh my goodness! You need like a little pipe or something like that, a little swish of Henny or something.
No talent beats, baby. Take us out.